Alright, now when we talk about Dimensity 1200 chipset and phones that are powered by that chipset, we're usually looking at phones under rupees 30,000 like the OnePlus Nord 2 or the Poco F3 GT. Now, these are phones that are basically trying to be budget flagship devices, and they do deliver on that front. But there are some compromises here and there. Well, Vivo, as a company that we already know, is a company that's focused a lot on camera and beauty aesthetics. And not just beauty inside the camera, but the whole device in itself that looks very, very gorgeous. And that is something that they've brought out with the all-new Vivo V23 Pro. The V23 Pro is the latest launch by the company, and judging by the looks of it, it is definitely a stellar design. And powered by the Dimensity 1200 chipset, it's not a slouch. Of course, the major focus of the V series has always been the cameras, and that kind of continues to be the trend here. With all of that being said, is the V23 Pro actually worth your buck? Well, let's find out. This is Varun from GTR, and you're watching my review of the Vivo V23 Pro. Let's get started. Alright, so first up, let's just start by talking about the design here. Now, Vivo is actually offering the phone in two different color variants, which is black and gold. And personally, I think the gold one looks better simply because it is a color changing panel that makes use of a fluorite AG glass design. Nonetheless, Vivo sent us the black variant, which is equally good. I mean, if there's no direct sunlight falling on it, it looks matte black, so that's good. It has a textured finish, so yeah, that adds a bit of grip to it. But once you shine light on it, it has this shiny, shimmery look to it that's so damn appealing. I mean, it just looks really good on camera and in person also. But I think the best part that I like about this back is that it does not attract a lot of fingerprints. I mean, we've seen that happen with most of the glass phones out there. So yeah, it's nice to see that while you get all these benefits in terms of the phone being flauntable, the phone being shiny and stuff like that, you don't have to deal with a lot of fingerprints either. And that is a really good thing to have. Now, the phone itself is quite lightweight too at just 171 grams and is quite slim at just 7.36 mm. In fact, it's the slimmest phone with a curved display. Yep, that's right. This thing comes with a curved panel, and say what you want to about how fragile they are, and I know how fragile they are, but I'll be honest, I would any day pick a curved panel over a flat one. I mean, it just works a bit better. Now, like I said, the material used here is glass and feels quite premium, but there's no mention of Gorilla Glass protection, nor of any sort of IP certification. As far as the fingerprint scanner goes, well, it's there inside the display. Of course, as good as the back looks, the front obviously does not look that appealing. I mean, it's 2022 and Vivo has brought out the notch. I mean, I am not really a fan of the notch, but then again, I won't deny the fact that if the camera performs good enough, I will be okay with the notch. How does the camera perform? We'll talk about that in the camera section, but yeah, from a design perspective, considering the year that we are in, I am not really a fan of a notch display. But yeah, if it offers good performance, I think I can make peace with that. Alright, so that was the design, which is clearly one of the biggest highlights of the phone. Now, let's talk about the display, which, well, is good, but there are some things that I do not like. Well, let's talk about the good part first. So on paper, you get a 6.56-inch Full HD Plus AMOLED panel that's capped at 90 Hz of refresh rate and, like I said, has curved edges. Now, as far as the panel goes, it's pretty good. You get vibrant colors and good brightness levels as well. In fact, this thing goes as bright as 1300 nits, which is damn good. Now, the curved edges also make it feel quite premium, and it, like I said, it once again helps with the gestures and the overall navigation and usage of the phone. You also get Widevine L1 certification, so streaming content in Netflix and Amazon Prime Video in Full HD is no issues whatsoever. But what does leave me kind of wishing for more is, well, I think you might have already guessed it, the refresh rate. I mean, see, here's the thing. If you ask me personally, yes, I do prefer 90 Hz and I still consider it as the sweet spot because it promises, well, a good balance between smooth visuals and a good battery backup. So yeah, 90 Hz, while is the sweet spot, For the price that this thing is launched at, 120Hz could have been offered. Now, another thing that I quickly want to address, this is a very slim phone, so you don't get a 3.5mm headphone jack here. Lol. But yeah, the good thing about Vivo is that they have supplied a USB-C to 3.5mm dongle inside the box, and what's more is that they're also giving away free earphones inside the box, and trust me, those earphones sound damn good. Also, as far as the speakers are concerned, you get a mono speaker at the bottom that does get quite loud and sounds decent enough too. Though, obviously, yeah, I wish it had a dual stereo setup. Alright, now coming on to the big highlight of the Vivo V23 Pro, which is this camera. Now on paper, you get a 108 megapixel primary shooter with an 8 megapixel ultra-wide sensor and a 2MP super macro sensor. Up front, you have a 50MP primary sensor and an 8MP ultra-wide sensor embedded inside the notch. Alright, so on paper, this sounds like a very good package, but how good or bad is the camera here? Well, in daylight shots, the camera works very well. I think the highlight here is the HDR that is very good. I mean, it's almost comparable to what Samsung produces on their devices. Like, the HDR really works very well. The shots are quite detailed too, which is obviously thanks to the 108 megapixel sensor. Obviously, you can shoot in full 108MP resolution, but even without it, the pixel bin shots look quite detailed. Now, colors are a bit on the saturated side, especially if you talk about the primary sensor. The ultra-wide sensor here has accurate colors, but the primary sensor saturates colors a lot, especially when you talk about the blues and the greens. Now, of course, you can disable the scene optimizer to get accurate results if you want, but then again, a lot of folks do prefer saturated shots, so I'll let you guys be the judge on what kind of shots you want. Now, moving on to low light shots, once again, the camera definitely does not disappoint. The shots almost have zero noise, and the images are once again quite sharp. The illumination here is also pretty good. Now, moving on to selfies, I think it's one of the best cameras that I've seen in a while. It's sharp, crisp, and the HDR also works very well. Like I said, I'll be okay with this notch up front only and only if the selfie camera was actually going to deliver. And I'll be honest, the selfie camera on this has definitely exceeded my expectations. Now, there are plenty of other additions for selfie cameras too. For instance, in low light conditions, there are spotlights on either side of the notch. You can even control the temperature of these lights. It's great for low light selfies, and the fact that these lights are hidden so well, it looks really cool. Of course, there's the familiar aura feature as well, but yeah, I personally do prefer these spotlights quite a lot. Now for videos, the rear camera can capture 4K at 60 FPS quite easily, and the HDR also works very well. Now there's also an ultra stable mode that caps at 1080p 60 FPS but is still quite smooth and stable. Additionally, there's also a night mode for videos that captures at 1080p 30 FPS. For selfie videos as well, there's a good level of stabilization on offer. The HDR toggle is manual, there's no auto HDR here, but once again, it works very well, so that's good. The face tracking for selfies is very accurate and ensures that your face is almost always in focus. And the best part here is that you can actually record 4K 60 FPS footage from the selfie camera as well. So yeah, clearly the Vivo V23 Pro is designed with keeping the camera needs of most of the users in mind. And I mean, the selfie camera here, yes, you can complain about the notch like I did, but once you start using it, the selfie camera is really good. I mean, especially if you are into reels and stuff like that, you would definitely appreciate the selfie shooter here. Alright, now let's talk about the performance of the device. So you get the MediaTek Dimensity 1200 processor coupled with UFS 3.1 storage. Now in terms of benchmarks, it's pretty good and about what we've seen from other Dimensity 1200 phones like the OnePlus Nord 2 or the Poco F3 GT. With that being said, it's not a direct competitor to those two devices in terms of performance. And see, here's the thing. Coming in a slim form factor like this means you'll have to compromise on something or the other, and the biggest compromise that we've seen on the V23 Pro is in terms of cooling. Now it works fine for when you're recording 4K videos, that's fine, but gaming and using this phone under sustained heavy loads makes the device heat up very easily. See, it's quite evident that this isn't a gaming phone. Vivo has definitely designed it as a style statement device with a really good camera. See, the panel being tapped at 90Hz in itself was a clear indication of it, and the thermals also suggest that you really should not be going for the V23 Pro if you're a performance enthusiast. Now, if you're not concerned about top-notch performance, the the V23 Pro definitely excels when it comes to the camera and the design and stuff like that. But yeah, just by looking at the processor, don't think that, okay, this is a flagship grade phone in the overall sense of it. It's not. The Dimensity 1200 does not perform to its peak inside this phone when you're talking about gaming and stuff like that. But yeah, if you leave that part aside, it's still a pretty good phone, especially for day-to-day usage. I mean, there are no lags whatsoever. And speaking of that, let's talk about the software for a bit. So the V23 Pro comes with FunTouch OS 12, which is based on Android 12. So yeah, that in itself is a good thing because we're already seeing a couple of devices still being launched with Android 11. So yeah, kudos to Vivo for that as well. Now, in terms of what all changes you see with FunTouch OS 12? Well, first of all, you get all those Android 12 features such as precise location and privacy indicators for when your camera and microphone are being used. So yeah, that's good. As for changes to Vivo's skinning features, well, there are changes to the widgets section and some changes to the recent apps. Like earlier, they used to be in this card style format, and now you can change them to a grid kind of a view. But the best part here, like I was talking about performance, is that Vivo has definitely done some changes in terms of the optimization so that the device feels very fluid. Alright, so next up, let's talk about the battery life. On paper, you get a 4300 mAh battery with a 44 watt fast charging option. Now, personally, I feel that, you could have incorporated a 4500 mAh battery here. 43 sounds a little bit low. In reality, I mean, the phone was easily able to last an entire day of heavy usage, which includes navigating on maps, listening to music on Spotify, watching a couple of videos, and using social media like a mad person. But yeah, the limiting factor here was that, yes, once I reached home, I had to plug the phone in for charging, because if I was planning to watch an episode before going to sleep, there wasn't enough juice left into the device. But then again, the good part here is that it does come with 44 watt fast charging, and you can go from 0 to 100% in less than 80 minutes. Alright, so you might already be wondering why there is a change in the set, and that's basically because we had already recorded my review, like the verdict of my review, based on the leaked pricing, which was supposed to be around 37,000. Now for that price already, the V23 Pro was a tough recommendation. But now Vivo has actually launched this phone with a starting price tag of 39,000. And at 39,000, I don't really see the point of it. I mean, see, here's the thing. The V23 Pro is not a bad phone. It's a very good phone. But the problem with the phone right now is the pricing. You can get Dimensity 1200 powered phones under Rs 30,000 like the Note 2 or the Poco F3 GT. What's more is that you can spend around 32 or 33,000 and get devices like the Realme GT Neo 2 or the iQOO 7 that are powered by the Snapdragon 870, which is already a far better chipset as compared to the Dimensity 1200. So yeah, the V23 Pro is basically for people who value their selfie game and keep their selfie camera at the highest list in their priority list. But other than that, I mean, yes, the design is good. I mean, yeah, the whole device looks and feels good. I personally did not have any complaints using this phone as a reviewer. But if I was to recommend a phone to you for 39,000, this is a very tough recommendation. And well, that was it. If you found this video helpful, make sure to let us know by giving us a thumbs up and subscribing to our channel for more awesome tech content. Also, we're planning a comparison video of the V23 Pro with the OnePlus Nord 2, so make sure that you have the bell icon turned on for that. Till then, this is One from GTR, and I'll see you in the next one.